So, if you think AI lead generation is just about some fancier email tools, you're kind of looking in the rearview mirror. The game has totally changed. Seriously. We've moved way beyond just buying lists and, crossing our fingers. Today, we're talking about the new playbook for 2026, where the real challenge, the ultimate bottleneck, isn't your software, it's your strategy. Let's break down what that really means. To understand where we're headed, you first have to get the huge problem sales teams have been fighting for years. According to some pretty solid research from Salesforce, the average sales rep spends only 28% of their week actually selling. Just 28%. So where does the other 72% go? Well, it's just swallowed up by admin work, manual follow-ups, all that non-selling stuff. I mean, think about that. That's a massive amount of wasted potential. So this leads us to the one big question that's driving this whole revolution. What if you could take that 72%, all the boring, repetitive, time-sucking work, and just automate it? Just make it disappear. Imagine freeing up your team to focus only on what humans are best at, building real relationships and, closing deals. That's the real promise of this new wave of AI. Okay, this brings us to our first big idea. We are at the end of guesswork. We are moving away from a model of actively hunting for leads to a much more strategic approach. It's kind of like turning off your flashlight in the woods and turning on a full-blown radar system that detects opportunities the second they appear. We've all been there, right? The old way was just a grind. You know the drill. Endless hours scrolling LinkedIn, trying to guess someone's email format, and then blasting out messages with a hope and a prayer. It's slow, it's super inconsistent, and it is almost impossible to scale effectively. It's just a mess. And if you need one single number to understand why the old way is dead, it's this: 90 seconds. That's how fast a strong buyer intent signal can completely fade away. If your team isn't acting almost instantly, you've already lost that lead to a competitor who was faster. The old manual hunting model, it just can't keep up. No way. To really get this shift to the new AI playbook, you've got to appreciate just how fast the landscape has changed. It hasn't been a slow crawl, it's been a massive leap, and it's happened in just 3 short years. So, let's just walk through this timeline. Think back to 2024. That was the database era. We were all buying static lists from places like ZoomInfo or Apollo, and our biggest headache was just bad, outdated data. Then in 2025, we got the enrichment layer. Tools like Clay let us build these rich profiles, but the new problem became complexity. You had to stitch together like 10 different tools to make anything work. And now, here we are in 2026, the agentic AI era. We have these unified platforms that handle everything on their own. And this perfectly highlights the shift. The new bottleneck isn't the data, it's not the tools, it's the strategy you use. So, if strategy is the new bottleneck, what's the new strategy? Well, it's called digital gap analysis. And this is all about finding those specific hidden weaknesses in a company's online presence, the revenue killers, the exact spots where they are leaking money and losing to the competition. Let's be super clear about what this is. Digital gap analysis is basically the process of finding these very specific, measurable holes in a company's digital strategy. It's not about vague feelings. It's about seeing precisely where their competitors are eating their lunch, where they're losing traffic, leads, and cold, hard cash. And this table here breaks down exactly what some of these gaps look like. You've got your traditional SEO gap. That means you're just losing organic traffic. Or the new one, the generative AI gap. This means you're totally invisible when people ask ChatGPT or Perplexity questions. You're missing a whole new kind of searcher. You've got Google business profile gaps, conversion gaps, and the reputation gap. An average rating below 4.0, your leads are going to convert at a rate that's 2 to 3 times lower. These are the revenue killers, hiding in plain sight. Okay, this is all great in theory, but let's make it real. Let's see what this looks like out in the wild. A recent case study did just this. They ran a super fast digital gap analysis on 10 local businesses, roofers and dentists, to see what they could uncover in less than an hour. And the findings were pretty staggering. Get this, a roofer taking 9 hours to respond to a new lead. A dentist with a terrible 1.0 rating on a major review site, a really well-known roofer who was completely invisible in AI search, a whole dental group missing the most basic SEO stuff. Every single one of these isn't just a small mistake. It's a giant flashing red light. It's a sales signal screaming that there's a problem that needs a solution right now. So, finding these gaps, that's the strategy. That's the what. But what about the how? How do you actually act on this stuff at scale?
Well, that requires a whole new kind of technology. And this brings us to the rise of AI agents and the huge shift from assisted tech to fully autonomous systems.
Okay, this is a really important difference to get. Traditional automation is, well, it's dumb. It's rigid. It just follows these fixed if this, then that rules that you have to set up perfectly. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is dynamic. It learns from data. It actually adapts what it's doing based on the context and what worked before. It's making intelligent decisions on its own. It's the difference between a simple tool that helps you and an actual agent that works for you.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, first, the AI agent identifies a buying signal in real time, like one of those digital gaps we just talked about. Then it starts enriching the data, pulling from all these different sources to build a complete picture of the prospect. After that, it crafts a personalized message based on that very specific signal. And finally, it executes the entire campaign across multiple channels, all without a human ever having to click a button. The whole workflow running by itself. So you put all this together, and it's pointing to a massive shift in how sales teams are going to operate. So what's next? Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture and this autonomous future that's, well, it's pretty much already here.
And just so we're clear, this isn't some tiny niche trend. The market for this tech is absolutely exploding. We're talking almost $10 billion in 2026, and it's projected to more than double to over $23 billion by 2032. The investment is pouring in at a massive scale because the results, they're undeniable. And hey, it's not just us saying this. Listen to this from Gartner. They predict that by 2030, a staggering 80% of chief sales officers will require AI-augmented plans just to survive the disruptions that are coming. This is fast becoming a mandatory part of any modern sales playbook. It's really not optional anymore. Okay, let's boil this all down. What are the key things you really need to take away from this? First, the game has shifted from static lists to real-time buying signals. Second, digital gap analysis is the new playbook you need to be using to find high-intent leads. Third, these unified agentic platforms are making those clunky, fragmented tool stacks obsolete. And finally, the real world for AI is to handle that 72% of non-selling grunt work so humans can focus on high-level strategy and actually closing deals. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. When your AI can autonomously find the perfect lead, qualify them, and make that first contact all on its own, what is the new job description for a human salesperson? That's the question that's going to define the entire next decade of this profession.